And now it's time for another edition of the Under Armour Performance Series. Under Armour, more than an apparel or shoe company, a human performance company trying to not only make their athletes better, but everyone a better runner. In this series, we've been talking to athletes, coaches, trainers on a variety of topics to help improve you as a runner, from preparation, nutrition, training, to competing and recovery. Today's guests are Canadian heptathlete Georgia Ellenwood and Doug Smiley, Global Category Manager for Performance Run at Under Armour. Thank you both for joining us. And Georgia, I'd like to start with you. Shoes and footwear is a hot topic right now in the running world. Can you tell me about your experience working with Under Armour on producing spikes? What's that like from an athlete perspective?
Yeah, I never really was involved in spike development before. I would just go to the store and buy the best spikes that I thought were best for my event. And so now I've opened to the entire world of product development, especially in the heptathlon, which is awesome for me. And I hope that Under Armour can also learn from having their first heptathlete and can kind of bounce back knowledge about what works best for me, what works best for athletes in the future. And so it's been really, really interesting to give feedback and to listen to where they are in steps of development and how I can help with that. So when I put the shoe on my foot, it's really cool to know that I was such a big part of developing a shoe that works for me and hopefully works for athletes in the future.
Mm-hmm. And Doug, why is it important to bring athletes in to that process when you're creating a new spike?
Really, because I mean, you look at Under Armour and how the brand started, and it started to find athlete-driven solutions, and that kind of mission and mantra has continued on. So even our expansion into track and field, we knew that the athlete had to be our North Star, our guiding light, and so we had amazing collegiate properties and amazing pro athletes like Georgia, and so that was really kind of approach to this of just like if we can make this pinnacle product that hits the exacting standards of the best athletes in the world, that's going to have a cascading effect where this is going to be applied to a broader audience there. But we knew we couldn't create this in a vacuum. We knew we had to go right to the athletes, get those deep insights, and then really have those conversations, start creating product, and then go through the validation process and just really kick off this ongoing conversation we have with athletes of every time we're creating product, they're just an immersive part of the experience from day one.
Mm-hmm. And sprint and distance spikes, a little more common out there, but Georgia
Mhm.
does so many events. Why was it important, Doug, to have a full complement of spikes for all the field events as well?
It's really a category where you can't be half in and half out. You have to be totally in and totally completed, or else you're going to end up fading away and not commit to the sport. So our kind of mission was complete the athlete. So not just have one cross country spike or have something for sprints, but for that track and field athlete and for those collegiate programs and for those programs we sponsor, we wanted to have product solutions in every category. So every discipline from jumps to throws to sprints, we know we needed to make the best product out there. And this is really kind of the biggest hurdle to clear for us was, the kickoff, really get all those conversations, really talk to athletes in all these disciplines and really kick it off from there. And then it's just from here on out, it's building, iterating, and improving going forward.
And Georgia, anybody who's watched heptathlon or decathlon from a distance knows that you guys are always changing shoes. Like your spike bag has a spike bag inside of that bag. I mean, it's just amazing how much equipment you guys need every time you go to the track. What's the value in having a specific shoe tailored for all your different events that you compete in?
Yeah, it's funny, I think, because when I signed originally with Under Armour, I don't know if they knew what they were in for because I had to say, like, I have seven different events and I'm going to need seven different pairs of shoes for that. And I think from an outside perspective, you might think that may need one or two and you can just use some of the same shoes for each event. But track and field has become so specific and certain movements are now so important in each event that I did need that many pairs of shoes. And so we are now that far along in the process where I think there is a mutual understanding of what I need as a heptathlete and that we can work on more of a narrow scope on all of the shoes. And I have more confidence that I'm going to get the shoe that I need for that event and to have the technology. Maybe in high jump, I need more of a springier shoe, or in the shot put, I need a flat surface so I can glide across the ring. So things like that, I think now there's a mutual understanding of what I need in each event, and then it's their job now to develop that, and they're doing a really awesome job at understanding what I need now. So I think it's going well, and hopefully I'm not disturbing too much of their development by asking for so much in the heptathlon.
I know they have a mantra, UA makes you better. When you were deciding on where to sign, how important was it to have a sponsor that would be able to support you in all your different pursuits here?
Even before signing with Under Armour, I knew that Under Armour was a brand that focused a lot on the science behind the sport. And I never really had an inside view of that before. Even at the University of Wisconsin, we were sponsored by Under Armour, but I didn't get like an inside look at the science that went behind their products. And so when I actually did for the first 2 years of my contract, I went and discovered all of that. And so now I can really see what's being put into their products and how they make me better. Like it's easy to believe just someone says like it makes you better, okay, I'll wear the product. But when you actually see the steps behind that and see them go through the process of what is actually making you better, you have more confidence when you go onto the track that that's exactly what it's doing.
And Doug, as I mentioned at the top, spikes and shoes are a hot topic in the running world right now. How do you take what you learned in the track and field space, maybe even stuff that you learned specific to Georgia's, doing the shot put or the high jump, and transfer that knowledge to other products that you work with, whether it be, road racing shoes, cross country shoes, or what have you?
Yeah, and this is kind of the great learnings we have on it's kind of this idea, and you spoke to Mikey and kind of looked at the global performance system, where how we kind of like treat the athlete holistically along their journey from compete to train to recover. And as we're talking to athletes about what they need in a high jump shoe versus a shot put shoe versus a sprint shoe, we're also talking about their training as a whole. So finding out what they're wearing for speed days, what they're wearing for long runs for some of them, depending on their discipline. And so there's definitely kind of this inherent learnings we're picking up there. And there's also a lot of transferable technology. A lot what we learn on constructing a sprint shoe, where our goal is to really lock you down and keep you centered on a platform for those explosive takeoffs. As we're constructing a running shoe, like right now we have a new technology with Flow, and we took a lot of those learnings from shoes like the Sprint Pro and we brought that over to the road running side. So it's just this kind of natural transferable DNA of technology where we might have to morph it and we might have to evolve it, but we find these great solutions and these great learnings from our pinnacle athletes in track and field, and that definitely can have application to the road side of things.
Mm-hmm. And Georgia, last question. In a year as hectic, or last couple of years actually as hectic as this, what is your training been like, and when are you going to start? When are we going to see you competing when we roll around to outdoor season?
That's always a hard question to answer right now, but I think we are figuring it out finally. There has been so many months of kind of just not sure where we're going, and I'm sure so many other athletes have been in that position, and it's difficult to stay motivated, especially when you don't know when the next time you're going to compete is. But then you realize like you still have a passion for the sport. You do it because you love it, and so it doesn't matter if you have a competition a year from now or in a month from now. And so we do have some competitions on the schedule. Hopefully some of them will be international meets for heptathletes and decathletes. It's usually always overseas. And so we're hopefully going to make that work. I think I have a meet in Italy in the end of April, and then the GOTS Hypo meeting, which is a really big multi-events meet in May. And then the Canadian Championships, hopefully if that goes smoothly, those will be my 3 big competitions as qualifications for Tokyo. And then of course, going to Tokyo. But yeah, so that now we have some meets on the schedule. So now it's just making sure I'm comfortable in all my footwear, making sure that I'm locked into my training, and really fine tuning all the details to get ready for those meets.
Great. Well, Georgia Ellenwood and Doug Smiley, thank you guys both for joining me on this week's edition of the Under Armour Performance Series. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.